and we're just gonna do it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, just gonna have fun with it. Yes, yes. So how's it going, sir?
Good, good. Things are great. It's the new year. I've taken a little bit of a break from development, so I've just been able to play a bit of a backlog of games.
Aren't we all?
So it's going well. It's going well. How are you?
Not too bad. I've been trying to catch up as well a little bit on my backlog. I've been playing a lot of Silent Hill 2 remake finally,
Yep.
and I'm getting there. I know I'm getting close. I've probably got a good 15 hours in it, and I'm not at the Lakeview Hotel yet. So I'm like, okay, there's still a good chunk left. I don't hate it for that reason. I don't hate that it's long, and I think about how even Resident Evil 4 remake took me a good 22 hours. I think my first playthrough, and then my second playthrough was like 12, and then my third playthrough was like 7. I'm like, I'm sure it'll get faster every time, but
Yep.
otherwise, yeah, it's been nice to kind of catch up on some games.
Sure. Yeah, it's the perfect time for it.
Yeah,
Perfect
right.
time for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty busy for the most part with a lot of things, but yeah, I'm trying to allow myself to take a little break. But I'm also going to go ahead and say, what's up? Welcome to Building Horror. This is a Fearzine podcast where we sit down and talk to developers and other folks who work in video games, horror games specifically, or at least hopefully. And joining me this episode, I have Marty Evans, who runs Red Spire Studio, and you make the night shift. Welcome, Marty.
Hello. Good to be here.
Thank you for joining me.
Uh, no, a pleasure. Pleasure is all mine. But it's so solo developer. It's a blast of a time. Blast of a time.
Blast. Is that good or bad?
Uh, it's a love hate relationship
Mm.
a lot of the time.
The passion projects? Passion?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So you
Yep.
just keep telling yourself.
Just one more day, and then get through the next day. One more day.
Well, if you're anything like me, it's hard to just stop and not do things because then you just get kind of like
Yep.
stuck in. I don't want to say stuck. I want to say more like you just get this ambition and this drive, and you can't not do the thing. And that's where I am at, and that's how the magazine is going, and that's why we're here doing a podcast as well because I can't
Yeah,
not
no,
do
I,
things.
I, I definitely get that. There's days where you've obviously got your ups and downs, and you're like, is this going well? Is it good? But then at the end of the day, you want to do it, and it's great to just have something out there. Whether it's good or bad is another thing, but
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's how we learn.
that's usually what holds most people back from doing the thing is the fear of judgment and criticism, and
Yeah,
they end up not doing it because of that fear. So
definitely. Yeah,
that's part of the problem is no matter what, if you're creating anything for other people to consume, there's there's going to be two sides to that coin, no matter what.
yeah.
And there's no way around it. So, but I get that. Like every time I talk to developers, there's this weird like semblance between development and like the magazine. And I like to think of we have this camaraderie in that sense because obviously we're not doing exactly the same thing, but there's a lot of similarities between indie developer versus indie produced, I guess, magazine. And we're a very small team. I'm doing a bulk of the workload, and then I've got like Maria is my number two, who's doing a big chunk of the workload, and then we've got our writers. There's it's a lot. It's a lot to do, and it's a lot of being a master of everything and or a
Yeah.
doer of everything.
Jack of all trades. Jack of all trades. Yeah,
That's the
it's
phrase.
yeah. It's definitely like that for indie developer, and as you're aware, you've got to just be across everything. Yeah.
Mhm.
Art, coding, marketing, QA, production. Yeah, so it definitely gets a bit tiresome, but it's one of those things where if you're too obviously we're our um biggest judges, I guess. We'll criticize the hell out of the things that we make, and we're so close to it. It's
Mhm.
hard to sometimes you just got to like let it go, and then other people just have to tell you if it's good or bad.
Yeah.
But Yeah.
We're our own harshest critics, and then, like, I
Yeah.
had that exact same conversation with Maria as we were making the final tweaks to the magazine. It's just let it go. Just let it go. It's gonna there's gonna be mistakes. Just let it go.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
fix it later. So
Yeah.
I get that. And to get us going here, I need to go ahead and mention and also thank you that you feature our magazine in your video game, which is an incredibly like heartwarming and humbling thing to see. And we actually have that in the our upcoming issue, where we have the screenshots from within your game of our magazine in your game.
It's really cool. And so you can at the moment see episode 1 in the game. Magazine 1,
Mm,
magazine 2. You have amazingly, you've given it to me. It's in, but it's not in the playable version yet. But when you're looking at the magazine in game, it's really cool. And it's I just yeah, having these collaborations, whilst a lot of the general audience won't know,
mm.
um, having like those QR codes where people are like, oh, what is this QR code? Get their phone out and then takes you there. Um, so hopefully more people will, you'll get a couple more people from the night shift check out Fearzine. But
Yeah, and vice
it's
versa,
really cool.
people checking out your zine check out the night shift, and that's what it's all about, and I love that about this project. I love how our magazine is spurring these collaborations between people that like, again, I love it. It excites me. I get really pumped up when I see people talking to each other and collaborating, and that's something that I'm hoping that even doing this podcast will drive more of that, more collaboration, more working with other people in the community, whether they're developers, artists, musicians, just anyone and everyone to come together and like create anything and everything together in a fun and wholesome way. 'Cause that's what's been going on. And like, it's just like, oh my God, this is
Yeah.
great.
Well, I guess when I originally reached out to you guys and we got it in, and then it just kind of spurred the rest of it. So now you can see a digitally physical version of 10 Dead Doves
Hmm.
and End of Ember. And that's really cool. Those teams gave me some artworks and I kind of pieced together their covers and they were really happy with it. So it's awesome that these teams have allowed me to just have that kind of collaboration, and just hoping that not so much that uh, they show my game off, but it's just more people checking out the indie horror or just
Hmm.
indie sector in general. Because there's a lot of games that just kind of go under the radar, which is unfortunate. So
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like our whole, shtick with the magazine is there are too many games to cover, and even us as a community and our business is covering the games. We can't cover them all. It's kind of
yeah,
impossible, and even then, it's like issue 2 right now is so big, and we were still like in the last minute adding new stuff, adding more games, and I'm like, we need to stop. Like this magazine can't be too big. Like we need to be able to
yeah,
keep making more of them. We need to save some space. But I also wanted to hit on the what I love about the collaboration between the developers and like Ten Dead Doves and Ember, allowing you to feature their games in your game. I don't think that happens very often, at least in like in this kind of space, or at least this kind of way, other than maybe in the AAA space. You might get a company promoting their own games. Like a bigger AAA studio will obviously promote their own games within their own games. But this is like completely separate teams, have nothing to do with each other, just sharing each other for the sake of sharing, and that's fantastic.
yeah. I mean, like, and that's kind of I think why I reached out to them, is that I haven't really seen this kind like seen it done before. I'm sure it has.
It's possible, yeah. Mhm.
I'm just not across it. But I think just as like indie developers, whilst we are competition, it's more of like a friendly competition, and we should obviously just all band together
Mhm.
and really drive each other's games. So I'm a big advocate of just kind of pushing that. Um, so, and I'm happy that these teams have allowed me to do that. It looks really cool, and it fleshes out the game, my game, some more as well.
Mhm.
But it's just really cool to have a, another game's physical. I say physical, quote unquote physical, um, copy that you can kind of rotate and read more. There's a QR code on the back of them, so you can whip out your phone and it takes you straight to the Steam page, so you can wish list or buy it. So it's yeah,
Well, interestingly enough too, because you're giving them a quote unquote physical game when they don't actually have one.
yeah,
You know, it's not a real it's a virtual physical game, but still it's that
yep,
semblance of like, "Oh, it's this is like I have the real thing." Because again, they're
yeah,
another, indie game that unless they somehow work out a deal with, like, limited run and get a physical print, like, which that does happen, maybe it will, but, shout out to the team over there for 10 Dead Doves as well, and, like, I love their reaction video they did on socials. They did this whole like, go look it up and check it out. You can find that they saw your post about putting the magazine in your game that features their game on our magazine, and then they do this whole Inception thing. It's great.
no, the teams that I've worked with and Fearzine included have all been amazing with getting the collaborations in. So I'm hoping that I've reached out as a more general thing, but yeah, would love to kind of expand on that more and
Mhm.
start doing it. It just comes down to time as well.
Oh, yeah.
My time, their time. So
Yeah,
um,
and that's something that we're a big advocate here of, and, like, I've been thrilled and really happy to try to, like, drive that incentive of just collaboration with everyone, and I only see that going further, and anyone of you guys out there listening to this, and, that's what we're here for, that's what we're gonna do, so if you're interested, just let us know. I'm gonna constantly keep pushing it and keep trying for it.
for sure. If there's anyone listening and you're a developer and you're working on a game, whether it's horror or not,
Mhm.
feel free to reach out to me, and I can get your game into my game.
Right? Yeah, speaking of, the not horror, looking at your personal professional portfolio here, you have it on here that you actually are a producer at Chrome Studios?
Yeah, so that's a recent thing. Before
Mhm,
that, I was working at Gameloft
mhm.
here in Brisbane. So we worked on the Oregon Trail that's on iOS. It's now on Steam
That's the new
consoles.
version, right? The new Oregon Trail?
Yeah, yeah. So worked on that just as QA, and then I worked on a complete opposite, My Little Pony.
Not horror at
And
all. I mean, maybe it is horror.
not horror at all.
I want that. Somebody make that for me, a horror My Little Pony.
Alright. Jeez, yeah, that would be
There is that new
could
horror
be fun,
unicorn
could be
movie
fun.
coming out that looks fun, so it could be like that.
That is true. That is true. But yeah, so worked on that, as a in production as well. That was kind of my stepping stone, or starting point, there. And then, I moved on to more recently the Carmen Sandiego game that the Brisbane team is working on, which releases early next year. Um, so I pretty much saw that all the way through to the end, and then I'm now working at Chrome here in Brisbane. So
Nice.
it's been a crazy couple years. But yeah, worked on some games that I don't think I'd ever work on
Yeah,
elsewhere,
right.
but yeah. But it's been good. It's been good.
Hopefully good
Completely, yeah,
experience.
not horror. Great experience. Great experience. I've been able to um, apply a lot of the learnings from that um, into just my own personal work. So the night shift and um, just other stuff that I work on as well. But it's been great. It's been great. Um, but I think that's I think it puts me in a bit of a one of those lucky positions, I guess, in terms of learnings, because I know not everyone that is an indie developer can learn the skills, those kind of skills, from people that have worked in the industry for 20, 30 years. I've been able to learn from them a variety of different things across, art, design, production. But I know that not everyone can do that. So it's, I consider myself very lucky in that regard. But it's been good though. It's been good.
Awesome. So you're the one to hit up when everyone needs help with those things.
Look, I try my best. I I've only been working with Unreal Engine for about a year now.
Mm.
So I'm still kind of learning a lot there. But if someone does need a hand that I've come across, I do try and help out if I can, or if I know what the topic is. But I'm sure there's better ways to do things. So
Fair enough. Yeah. You also mentioned that you transitioned from working from the service industry coming to games into the games
yeah,
industry.
yeah,
Let's tell
yeah.
me about that. What does that mean exactly? What do you mean by service industry?
Okay, so we're going all the way back. So I guess I worked in the hospitality industry, so Macca's and McDonald's,
Mm,
and bars, um, for about oh, it was just over 10 years. So it hit when COVID hit. I was out of the job for like 6 to 8 months, I believe. And I just thought, if this ever happens again, which is unlikely, but if it ever does, I wouldn't. I'm not going to be able to survive, in terms of, like, financially or just mentally as well. So I transitioned and started working. Transitioned and applied at a university here in Brisbane, and did a bachelor of game development, and then did that, and it was a fast tracked one as well. So it was uh, 2 years, um, 2 years, and then I started working at Game Loft, and then it ended up being like 2.5 years. But it's been the transition between the service industry and hospitality to the games industry, and is a wild one. There's a lot of learnings that you do get from the hospitality industry. So, like, discipline, timing, time management, um, even communication skills. Those have been great to learn there. But there's also the hard skills that you don't learn at all. So it's there's a lot of similarities, but it is very different,
mm.
very different. So now I work from home 5 days a week, whereas before I would be out of the house 6 days a week working 9, 10 hour shifts. So it's very different.
Oh, I get that. I've made quite a few transitions myself over time, and I've worked retail, I've worked food service. I was also in the military, and
Oh wow.
yeah, I did 4 years in the military, and that was 4 years of just my life is just chaos, and I have no
Yeah.
control over anything. And you talk about work weeks and hours that they don't exist. You just work all
Yeah.
the time and
Yeah.
try to sleep when you can. So there's definitely
Jeez.
a big difference now where, kind of like what I've been doing here and like with Fearzine and any other project I've been involved in, it's more like fake it till you make it kind of thing, just kind of like forcing my way into to the industry. I actually took
Yeah.
some game dev classes in college years ago, and then I ended up dropping out because I overdid it. But then I've looked at going back, but the main thing that held me back from actually going to school again for game dev, similar like what you did, was just I didn't want to invest in another degree and spend more money or at least get more debt from student loans and things because I've already got enough of that to deal with. And I have degrees that I don't use because I decided I didn't want to do those things anymore. But
Yeah.
here we
And
are.
I think we touched on it a couple of days ago, but whilst the degrees, I guess for game development definitely come in handy in terms of as an employer, but a lot of those um, learnings that you do get from university, um, you could you can definitely find them online for free. YouTube is a um, great resource there. You mentioned the Harvard has the computer science
Mhm.
degree that's free. You can access that online.
Yeah, it's a coding program you can enroll in and take for
Yeah,
free.
so like there's definitely these free avenues to go down, and it's um it's a great time I think to be a game developer in terms of learning to develop
Mm,
because there's so many resources out there. In terms of releasing a game, though, it's definitely a flooded market. It's great.
yeah.
It's great to see all these games, especially as a player. There's so many games to choose from. It's really cool. But when you release your game, there's so many hoops and hurdles that you've got to jump over, especially as a solo developer. Um, it's yeah, but it's yeah, it comes with the territory, I guess.
Yeah, it's a weird place to be in being a game developer, and as exciting as it is for anyone out there like yourself or even myself, I've been dipping my toe into game development lately and learning some coding and learning some engines. Most recently, I've been dabbling a little bit in Godot. I've got Unreal installed. I haven't really messed with it too much yet, but that's on my to-do list, and I've got a couple of ideas for some little games to try and play and make. But right now, my whole thing is like it'll be fun to make a game and put it out there, but it's not any kind of like an ambition to like I'm going to become a game maker and I'm going to hope that I make these big bombastic successful games because, like you said, it's an incredibly flooded market. Even the AAA space is just upside down and backwards, and it's terrifying for people who actually got degrees to make games for AAA studios, and now they have no job security. Which I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole, but it's it seems like it's a more, I wanna say fruitful? Fruitful, I'll
Yep.
use that word. Fruitful place to be an indie developer because you have a lot more freedom, you have a lot more creativity. It's hard as balls, don't get me wrong, but it just seems like it's the better avenue of, having, like, more of, like, peace of mind as well as a sense of accomplishment and not fear of losing your job and not having a job.
Yeah, it's definitely a concern, especially yeah, all throughout last year, hearing layoffs across the entire world.
Mhm.
Each day I'd go to work and just be like, "Is this my last week? Like, is that gonna be a thing?" Um, and then like even now, just with how the state of everything is, I think I'm thankfully I think I'm good, but also you can never be 100% sure. Right now, it's
Yeah.
such a volatile feeling. I think at the moment where you're just not sure. It's just such a flip flop. It could be good, could be bad. So,
Yeah, it's basically you just can't
um,
put all your eggs in one basket in any of the
yeah.
kind of thing.
Um, Weirdly enough, I've put all of my eggs in the baskets, so it's
Well, I
so
mean,
if
at least
something happens.
you've got like your actual like, day jobs to hold you afloat, I imagine.
Yeah, yeah, and it does. But I mean, if something happens there, all my eggs are in the basket. So
Mm.
um, but yeah, I it's yeah, curious. Hopefully, 2025 is better in terms of the game industry for jobs.
Yeah, we can only
One can
hope
hope.
that
Yep.
gets a little bit better? Like, it feels like it's a big time for change in the games industry and how these things are handled and done. And I don't know, maybe folks like ourselves are that change that we hope to see, between game, AAA game developers, studios, and publishers versus the indies, and then we've got like the big giant publications. Even they're under fire, for all sorts of things, and people don't trust game journalists at all.
Yeah.
So that's where we're hoping that we can rise above these stereotypes and stigmas of the industry. Even I, have to worry about that scrutiny of like people not trusting us because of just how difficult that situation has gotten. But
Yeah.
again, not to harp on that too much. I want to actually like move us on to your game. We
Yep.
have your studio, which is just you. It's a Red Spiral, right? Red Spiral Studio.
Yes. Yeah. Red Spiral Studios. Yep.
Nice. Cool, cool. Tell us everyone about the night shift.
Okay. If you're not aware, the night shift is basically you as a player, you start your new night job at Maxa department store, but things just aren't what they seem. And the initial nights are a little bit slower, and then things start happening. And I guess the main pull here is that the mannequins move similarly to weeping angels from Doctor Who. They move when you don't look. Um,
Has always been one of the
so
most terrifying
yeah.
Doctor Who creatures. So perfect.
And it's great because there's a lot of games. There's a few games out there that already do it, but um, I think they're rather short. So this one, I'm trying to make it a little bit longer, whilst also trying to um, put some twists and turns in there, so it's not always predictable in terms of you just have to look away or keep on looking at them and whatever. So trying to think of cool new ways to and mechanics for the player. But yeah, that's pretty much the premise. Just continue to look at mannequins. Don't turn around. Don't blink. um, but yeah, it's in early access at the moment. So I guess we'll go all the way back to how it started. So it started last year. Yeah, oh, sorry, not last year. 2023. We're in 2025 now.
Woo.
Happy New Year, everyone. Woo. Um, so started development in 2023 as a student project on the Unity engine, and a criteria for the student project was that it had to be released on Steam. So when we made it and released it, it was, as you'd expect from a student game, that we only had like 4 months to make it. There was eight-ish levels, but it was very unoptimized, and I wasn't happy with the state of it on Steam. So as soon as uni was over, I went to work, ported it, or not even ported. I went into Unreal Engine and basically recreated it from scratch. So a lot of it, I guess, the only thing that is at all similar to the Unity one is the whole mannequins that move when you don't look. Everything else is brand new. And it was, I guess, re-released not this year, March 2024. It was more of like a vertical slice. So for those who don't know what a vertical slice is, it's more of just if you imagine your favorite game that's been released, if you just took out one, if you kind of laid it out on a plane and you just kind of cut a strip out of it, that would be the vertical slice. So you're looking at like a 30 minute hour kind of level from a game at release quality, or as close to release quality as possible, or like in terms of visuals. Um,
Yeah, I've always took
so I
vertical
released,
slice to mean like you're trying to present what the experience is hopefully gonna be when it's finished,
yes,
and you're
yeah,
trying to make sure you're including as many elements of what you expect the final game to have.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I released a yeah quote unquote vertical slice. It wasn't there's been a few changes since then,
Mm.
but yeah, that was released in March 2024, and then since then I've been able to implement a whole bunch of new things, change a bit of the layouts. So I haven't kind of been locked into what that vertical slice was. And I guess as an indie, I have that freedom to kind of change that as well. Um, if you were the publisher, you might not. Um, but at the end of the day, it's your game. You're making it. So if you don't feel that that's the quality of it, you can change it. But
It's also kind of the beauty of early access too, is you can update and make changes to the game and evolve it over
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. So I think I think that's been the struggle for me, or one of the struggles for me at the moment, is that in terms of game releases, mine isn't the most traditional in a way. Um, so it's hard to kind of market it because now it's almost been in early access for a year. Um, it's in a pretty good state at the moment, but I can't really market it as a full game, and people are kind of a bit iffy on investing in an early access game,
Mhm.
especially when there's so many out there that uh, are just there for the money, um, and not up to a certain standard. Um,
Yeah, there's a lot of players out there that won't even waste their time on an early access game.
yeah, and I've got a couple friends that won't even like. Yeah, I'm not putting it against them, but they won't touch it because it is early access. They've said to me that they don't buy early access games, and I'm like, that's fine. So, and I understand that it yeah, with players and people with that kind of mindset, it definitely makes it hard for me to not just sell it, but just have more players um, investing their time and giving feedback. Um, and I guess the weird thing is that well, not weird. It's different. It's different. So when the game was originally free when as a student project. So when it was the Unity game, it was free. And then when I did the Unreal version and that was released, I put a price point on it. So it was on the Unity version and free between August 2023 and March 2024. And then between that, I guess a lot of I guess people or bots, as soon as they see a free game, they kind of like add it to their account. So there's, I think, about 10,000 people or 10,000 accounts with the game added. Um, so it's good, but it kind of like warps the the statistics from like a financial kind of point or even player base, because I'm not actually sure if these bots are people or not. I can't actually tell. But yeah, it's weird. I like it's it's not the most traditional in releases,
It's just
but
a struggle though that like you're not alone. I'm sure there's plenty of others out there that have had to
yeah,
deal with this, and I can even make a kind of sort of similarity between like with the magazine, we have issue 1, which is technically free for everyone, but now we're charging like a price for issue 2 going forward because we're trying to invest and build a bigger and better product, which is exactly what you're doing. But that requires money, you know?
Yeah. 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 It's definitely like it's an uphill battle. Um, and I'm not sure in terms of like I wouldn't do how I've done it, how I've done the night shift release. I probably wouldn't do it like that in future. If I was to put it in early access, I'd definitely make sure there's more game
Mhm.
there. I guess the reason why I only put a vertical slice out at a price point was um, there was a lot of reviews for the Unity one basically saying bad performance, don't invest. Um, and that kind of um, those reviews stay there even when it's paid. It just doesn't count to the score. When you go onto the Steam page and you can see like overwhelmingly positive or mixed. Um, any reviews that were done, if it's a paid game, any review that is from a like free copy don't go to the score.
Mm.
So I guess when I did the Unreal version at a price point, it kind of cleared the not negative, but definitely mixed review score. It's still mixed, by the way, but the reviews are more. The recent reviews are more in line with the game, I guess.
So you kinda have, like, some stagnant old reviews kind of lingering.
Yeah, they're still there. They're still there, and I guess the hard thing is that a lot of the people that would have added it to their account, I'm not sure if they're up to date with the game being in a new engine,
Mm.
which requires a little bit more beefy computer than a Unity game. So I think when they come in and say, "Oh, the performance is bad," I think they're still thinking it's a Unity game. But performance could also be bad, and I'm always, as a developer, I think optimization of performance is something that you just kind of continue to do, no matter what. But it's, but I think that's been the hardest thing in terms of um, the night shift. Um, Obviously, there's a lot of development issues in terms of things just not going right in Unreal Engine, or Unreal Engine crashes,
Mhm.
and you forget to control S, and you lose out on 2 hours work because you just haven't saved.
Yeah.
um, but no, it's been a great experience so far, learning everything, and I'm just trying to make it worthwhile now. Make it add more content.
What's the
Uh,
future of the night shift looking like?
um, so this year, and I guess hopefully years after will just be more levels. Um, I've got ideas of different enemy types or mannequin types that I want to kind of test before I put out into the world,
Mm.
just because it sounds good on paper, but whether it's good playing it is another question. Um, but yeah, I think now I've got the night shift in a good spot. It's just all going to be content now. So more levels, yeah, more story. I'm not a story writer as well, so it's yeah, a lot of it is just very a basic story, but it's yeah, I got some ideas, got some plans. I'm excited.
Good. How are you gonna be, like, delivering? Is it gonna be, like, episode packs that are gonna become available for players, or is this gonna be updates that's gonna add new content?
Yeah, just updates. Just so far, I think in 2024 I did, I think just over 30 updates across the year. And that's including a couple. No, that's not even including those ones. No, so it's all the Unreal version. So I think there's like 37 last year, but um, I don't plan on doing any DLC or like release core game levels
Mm.
as DLC or episodes or anything. I've had a couple friends give me some ideas for DLC, but that won't happen until if that does come to fruition, won't happen until I finish the main game.
Yeah.
So everything, if you pay the, I think it's US $7, most of all of the core game updates will be free.
Well, even when I say episodes, I think about games that I've seen in early access that will have like their first episode is available during early access, and then their roadmap will usually entail something like by the time we leave early access, we plan on having episode 2 and episode 3 done, and those are going to feature this kind of content, and that's available to everyone who's already pre-purchased the game through early access.
Okay, yeah,
It's
yeah,
not like
yeah.
a tacked on extra cost kind of thing,
Right.
but you
Okay.
can
I
kind of
think
give
so. When
players
you
an
said episodes,
expectation,
I think when you said episodes, I was thinking of
like a paid add-on.
yeah, like Poppy Playtime. I think does it
Yeah.
where the first episode was free, and then
Because those
two,
are
three,
like
four was like $5 or $6.
that's fair. I get where I'm looking at
Yeah.
it more from like I guess this is more the FPS world where how they do
Yeah.
episodes.
Okay.
Because like one of the
Okay.
last games I did early access coverage for was a game called Dino Trauma, which is an old school PS1 style dinosaur horror game, but it's the first person shooter, but very Dino Crisis in its gameplay elements. And that
Okay.
was in the same kind of similar situation where it was early access. It had one episode available, and then their roadmap said we're going to do 2 more episodes by the time the game finishes and leaves early access, and that's going to be available to everyone who bought the game. So
Yeah.
it's just a
Okay.
different
Yeah.
approach.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't have any plans. I guess for those for releasing like episodes or doing
Mm,
it episodic. I guess. It's hard for me to, I guess, uh, not promise, but just kind of do that with how
mm,
things are like between work
fair enough.
and this. But um, yeah, it's more just like I do finish 4 or 5 levels and then out to the world.
Here you go. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, as long
Uh,
as it keeps the player interest and like people coming back, hopefully that's you have at least a solid player base that when they see those updates, like oh boy, more levels.
yeah, yeah. So I recently this is something that I um love from games like I guess Team Fortress 2, where they do the seasonal updates.
Mm,
But I recently, just before Christmas, I decided to add in Christmas content. So every Christmas now, you can choose, but there's a couple modes. So you can play with no seasons at all. There's seasonal modes. So every Christmas and Halloween from now on will have content related to that season in games. So for Christmas, the mannequins was wearing little Santa hats,
mm.
and there are a few decorations around. Um, and then I've got a couple achievements tied to that season. So like during Christmas, complete a level. Um, but then I've also got a option to choose what season you want as well. So if you don't want any seasons, you can play with no. You can play at Christmas time, but no Christmas decoration.
Mm.
But then you can also choose to have Christmas 100% of the time. So when yeah, so
Christmas in July.
yeah, so it's just like a fun little thing where you can just kind of play it with the realistic seasons, and when it's Christmas in real life, it'll be Christmas in game. Halloween in real life will be Halloween in game, or you can choose not to, or choose to have those seasons on all the time. And I yeah, added that just as like a fun little draw, at least for Christmas. Um, but yeah, I've kind of hinted at future content as well with like a uh, weird, meaty kind of look, fleshy environment,
Hmm.
which which I'm still working on, but I'm excited for people to play a a different feel from what they've just played for the
I was
past
say that
2
sounds
hours.
very different and might give
Yeah.
people a little bit of a like a oh.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I plan on that also introducing a new type as well, a new type of mannequin, so I'm excited, and yeah,
Sounds juicy.
now it's just kind of yeah, it is very juicy. Every time
I
you
know
step
plenty of people who are fans of juicy, so
yeah. Well, there's a very juicy sound when, as you walk across the fleshy, meaty, the floor. It's very squelchy. Um, but yeah, now it's just kind of working on things that'll draw people in, into it.
nice.
Um, so yeah, it's uh, it's exciting to work on that as well.
Hmm.
Just yeah,
Just a curious question I have then, not to push us away from it, but do you have any thoughts or ideas going for like a new game to start after the night shift?
I've got so many,
Perfect.
so so many. Yeah, I think I'd be worried if I didn't. I think most game devs definitely have like 5 to 10 to 20 ideas on the back burner.
Mm,
Yeah, I've got some ideas. I'm not sure. Yeah, both a lot of the ideas I have mixed genres as well. So some are horror, some are RTS, some are simulation. So it's really just kind of like what kind of game do I want to spend the next after the night shift?
mm.
What do I want to spend the next 1, 2, 3 years working on? But yeah, I got some ideas. Got some ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. I mean, trying to think of some of those more general questions. You've really done a good job, kind of like covering all bases of like what kind of engines you've worked in, a lot of the difficulties and the challenges you've faced, but also some of the unique experiences you've been able to you know, get lucky and have those, experiences and familiarity with working with different people, which is great, and I hope that that helps you shape your progression and moving forward with everything, whether it's horror or not, because it doesn't matter. I mean, we're here about horror games, but for the love of games in general.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, it's been great, and seeing all the reactions as well. I definitely pop into um, with the different time zones. I try and watch some vods of Twitch streamers that have played it, and seeing their reactions um, to a lot of the things that I do on purpose as well. To get those reactions is really
That's
satisfying.
gotta be cool.
It's really cool.
If you catch one of those VODs where a player finds our magazine and it sent it to me, I'd be curious.
Well, I've got I came across one not for Fearzine, but I've got some kind of like parody version posters and even movies of like Alan Wake 2 and a lot of different games. But um, someone I forget her name or the streamer, but uh, she came across one of the posters and she must have just been playing a lot of Alan Wake 2. She couldn't escape it, and then she came across it and she was just gobsmacked.
Mm.
Um, so I think, yeah, I really like having those kind of reactions of people, um, just yeah, reacting just as I'd expect from something that I've just purposely done, or just those small things that the small little details. So, like, I guess the details. So there is over, I think, 300 movies and games that I've created. Um, there's a few that you can look at the front and back of these movies and games. Um, some and a lot of the ones that you can interact with are those small details. So it's really satisfying to see someone kind of react to those small details as well. So a lot of satisfying moments that I've been able to see, which is good, which is great.
I mean, that alone right there is one of those things where it's like, yeah, it makes this
Yeah,
worth doing.
I had a few friends tell me, "Oh, no one's gonna be looking at all of these. Like, you're wasting your time." And I'm like, I don't care. Like, there'll be someone out there that'll spend 30 minutes looking at every single one of them.
Mhm.
Um, but all it takes is just the one person, um, or the situation that I mentioned before, where she just comes across it, looks at it, and is just kind of blown away in terms of just like can't escape Alan Wake 2. But no, it's great. It's great to see just people reacting and playing it as well. I love it.
Ooh. So, just, switched up here a little bit. I'm just kinda covering some of my basic questions that I
Oh,
have. I
no,
can
you're all good.
get some of this out either way. Talked about your work, horror games. I mean, you have horror games in general on here, so we could always go down that rabbit hole.
Oh, that's gonna. Have you got 3 hours to talk?
Well, I don't know if everyone has 3 hours to listen, so I did make a note of God of War, classic versus new, because we had
Oh,
gotten
yep.
into that,
We briefly
before,
talked about that. Yeah,
talking about
yeah,
how, I miss old God of War.
yeah, yeah. It's. I think there's definitely moments in the new God of Wars that um, are those wow moments. But as we had previously talked about, a lot of those wow moments you'd be playing through in God of War 3. Like
Yeah.
you're climbing, you're doing the cool thing, and sometimes in the new God of Wars, you're just watching it. So it's
Yeah, I wanna, reiterate this, this is a previous conversation before we were recording that we were talking about God of War, and you were talking about this, and you were saying when you're playing the new God of Wars, these incredible epic cinematics are happening, and you you were like, "I could be doing this. Why am I watching it?" Like, I'll go play God of War
yeah,
3 where you actually do the thing that you're
yeah.
seeing. I
We're
kept thinking
just
about that too. It's like it's living rent free in my mind about how in God of War 3, you're climbing a Titan while fighting
yeah.
other monsters to kill the Titans, and nothing like that happens in the newer God of Wars.
And that was the opening as well.
Yeah,
So obviously, it just got like bigger and more extravagant after that. But like the opening sequence is you climbing this massive titan, fighting your way up,
yeah.
and yeah, these ones are a little bit more grounded. And you had previously mentioned in the what is it, the God of War 2018 or whatever it is, whatever year it came out. You've got the giant, the big titany area that you're climbing across. It's all frozen.
Mhm.
You've got the big hammer there, but like you're not. It's just kind of like a set piece. You're not doing
It's
anything
yeah, it's
cinematic. It's not
the Titan is just
over
a
the top.
piece of,
It's
uh, like, landscape that you're traversing,
yeah,
and then you get, like, into nooks and crannies of the Titan, and you fight the Draugr and whatnot. And then you go
yep,
back outside, you climb around a bit more, and then you fight some more Draugr, and then you go back around, and then the Titan never moves until you complete the area, and then you see it get up, and you're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that was a big thing the whole time." But it never moved while you were on it. Whereas you go back to God of War 3 from circa, what was it, 2013? When did the God of War 3 come out now? God, it was a long time ago where you were actively climbing moving titans while they were fighting each other and other things were happening. And they were
Yeah.
it was just so much more epic and the combat was so much more intense, and so I miss the old days of God of War where you were just actively murdering things all the time. And then, of course, you've got the random, like, mini games of sex and stuff, but regardless, there was just so much more involved in those games and, like, so much more
Yeah.
action. And don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, the new God of War games have their great moments, and they're incredibly well scripted and well acted, and God of War 2018, I think, was a phenomenal game. I just wish it would stop shoving cutscenes down my throat and let me go back to killing things.
Yeah, and this is something that we had talked about as well. But I think the the thing with PlayStation games is they're all meant to be 40 to 50 hour cinematic experiences. So like, yeah, Last of Us, which is great. Then you got Last of Us 2, which is triple the game time. Horizon 1 and 2, whilst both great, are very long.
Mhm.
And that just comes with open world games as well. But yeah, like God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, but that is also
Yeah.
amazing.
I mentioned the Ghost of Tsushima previously because, like, I love that game because, A, I love anything that's, like, samurai, ninjas, Japan, Japanese culture, like, I love games like Onimusha, even the Rise of the Ronin, but, like, Ghost of Tsushima is one of the greatest, like, realistic-esque samurai games out there, and
Yeah,
the biggest saving grace with that game is, A, it's beautiful, which most of these games are beautiful, but then it's like those other games don't allow you to really just appreciate them for what they are, but the combat in Ghost is just pristine, amazing combat, amazing action. It lets you just go nuts and have fun, and then the story when it does happen is incredibly well written. It's very dramatic, it's very heavy-handed, but
mm,
then it doesn't linger. It goes right back to, like, "Okay, go back to riding around and murdering dudes." You know, and then come back for a little snippet of story, and then go back to murdering dudes and follow a bird and a fox here and there. But
yeah,
again, they're just too long. But yeah, like that's my issue with some of these other PlayStation games. It's like, sure, they look great, but I don't want to watch a movie. I'm
yeah.
not here to watch a
And
movie.
like I have played all of them, and I love them all. They're great, but there's definitely moments on that the first time you play it, especially like, Last of Us 2 and God of War Ragnarok. You get to a point and you're like, oh, we're still going.
Yeah,
This is still going. Okay.
it
Okay,
becomes
especially Last of Us 2. That was crazy. But
there's a bit of a fatigue that happens with those games where it's just like,
yeah.
why, why am I still? Why is it still going?
Yeah. 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 But and not everyone has 40, 50 hours to just play through
Mhm.
that's obviously exaggerating, but 40, 50 hours to play through the story of a game. Like,
My bigger thing is too with those games is sometimes they take so long. By the time I finish the game, I forget most of the story beats, and it's like
so you
it's
got to play it
hard.
again.
Yeah, like I don't remember how I got here, especially if you're like me. I'm playing a dozen games at once, so
Yeah.
it's hard to keep them all straight. And again, that's on me as a gamer and the fact that I play too many games. I'm sure the vast majority of players are more like I play this game until it's done, and then I never play it again, or I just play
Yeah.
the same game over and over again, so it's just burned into my brain forever. But that's
Yeah.
not me, and I don't wanna replay the 40, 50-hour God of War game over and over. I will, however, replay the shit out of God of War 3 over and over and over again because it's just so damn fun,
Yeah.
and it's a
Yeah.
condensed, like, 12 to 20-hour experience, give or take, you know, and that's like me with my favorite Resident Evil series or horror series, I was gonna say is Resident Evil. Those are the kind of games that I will play them over and over and over because I just enjoy them so much, regardless of the story, you know?
Yeah. 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 It's obviously like these games are all amazing and um, yeah, huge technical feats in their own way. But it's just, yeah, sometimes it's just too much. Sometimes
Yeah.
I think you've really got to be in a in a really comfortable spot to obviously on the couch physically, but also just like on a weekend, you're comfortable enough to spend 4 hours playing a game to get, and you've really got to be invested in the story. So when you come back again, it's not forgotten.
I'm thinking about this not a counterpoint to the sentiment that we're talking about, but the counter to those games is there are games that that are really long that have like paper thin stories, and those are
Mm-hmm.
the games that I love living in. And I'm specifically thinking of Zelda Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom and Elden Ring.
Yeah,
Because so many people I know, including myself, I spend hundreds of hours in those games. And this story is so thinly veiled and it's delivered in such small chunks, but you just love being in those games. Like, I have no problem just spending an afternoon running around in the world of Breath of the Wild or in Elden Ring and just exploring and just taking in the world and fighting things and finding secrets.
yeah,
But you asked me to sit down and play a God of War game that's like hours and hours and hours of cutscenes, and I'm just like, "Come on, let's go." Ugh.
yeah, yeah. It's probably something to do with like the sandbox feel of it too. So like, uh, for example, I haven't finished Horizon Forbidden West, and every time I pick it up, I'm like, I forget what I'm doing. I've got to start again, and then I get to a point, and I'm like, oh, there's a lot to do this. I'm going to put it down, and I'll get back to it, and then I don't,
Yep.
and then I come back to it a month later, like a couple months later, I'm like, shit, what was I doing? Better start again. But like for those sandboxy games, when there's no story, it doesn't matter if you put it down and pick it back up. You're like, I I wasn't doing anything. I kind of understand what I'm doing. Like I didn't have a goal before, and now I can just kind of go over here and do that thing.
In
There's
in
nothing you tying you to that save, I
even in
guess,
Breath of the
in
Wild,
terms
you
of
can
story.
literally jump in the game, go straight to the final boss, beat him, and then just do whatever you want in the rest of the game.
Yeah,
You can literally do that. Uh, but I was gonna make a mention too with games like Horizon and other open world games like that. The the struggle for me with any of those games, especially Horizon, like I finally beat Horizon Zero Dawn, I think 2, 3 years ago. And again, I did the exact same thing. I would start it, walk away from it, and then have to restart it, and then walk away from it, and that whole cycle. And what I ended up deciding was if I'm ever gonna play open world games like that, I have to mainline and beeline the main story. I
yeah,
can't do anything else because everything else distracts me. Everything else takes me out of what's actually happening in the story. And when I did finally beat Horizon, I realized, oh, the story is really great, but it took me way too long to get there and actually see it.
yeah.
'Cause, like, those final few missions in Horizon are fantastic. And I'm like, why did they make me wait to see this? Why didn't that's just that's I know it's a personal complaint, it's a personal beef. I'm sure there's others out there who absolutely love Horizon for what it is. And again, to each their own.
Yeah.
Or for someone like myself, I had to ignore everything, which is hard for me because I'm a completionist and I have OCD and I want to do everything, but I don't have time to do everything.
And it's so easy in those open world games, especially like um, Far Cry and Horizon, where there is something just around the corner, and then when you do that, there's something around the corner. Then you do that, and there's something else around the corner. So it's just always like you get further and further away, and then you look at your map and you're like, I'm I'm on the other side of the map, and I'm twice as far away from where I need to get to.
And you've got 13 new quests to accomplish
Yeah,
that are mostly
yeah,
involving collecting sticks or finding
yeah.
something for somebody or finding someone
Uh,
for someone.
and don't forget, you're not the correct level yet. You're actually 10 levels under, so you need to spend some time leveling up by doing other quests and getting more sidetracked, and then you can get to the main quest.
Yeah. Stressing me out thinking about it. I'm just gonna go back to
Yeah,
playing Resident Evil 2 for the 18th time.
that's a smart move. Smart move. Yeah.
I actually, on a separate note with that, I've gotten myself to this new way and this new approach to playing Resident Evil games when they come out, and it started with, Resident Evil 2 or 3 remake, I forget which one, but I decided that when I'm gonna play a Resident Evil game, I'm gonna start by playing the harder difficulty, and I think it was especially with Resident Evil 8, I did this where I started the game on not the hardest difficulty, but the second hardest difficulty, and holy crap, was that hard. Oh my god, it was a struggle. But it made the game feel like proper horror at that point because it's so hard, because
Yep.
everything matters. It's life or death at all times. But then what the real kicker on that though, and this happened to me with Resident Evil 8 and Resident Evil 4 remake and Resident Evil 2 remake, beating the game on the harder difficulty the first time creates such a massive sense of catharsis when you go back and restart it, because then when you play like Resident Evil 8, everything rolls over as far as like your powered up weapons and upgrades and things. So like I beat the game on the harder difficulty, then I replayed the game on easy, and then you're just a war machine and you're just tearing through everything that originally terrified you, like those werewolves that would like rip you to
Yep.
shreds. Now you're just like, aha, just blasting them to chunks, and you're just
Yep.
like, you turn into the Terminator, and it's such a flip of power. You go from playing a survival horror games where every moment you don't know if you're gonna live or die to now you're Doomslayer and you're just punching everything in the face.
Yep.
And I
I,
love that
I
dynamic.
I did that exact same thing on Dead Space.
Nice.
That it's just such a great feeling to kind of just go through and just slaughter with ease the things that were just like scaring you shitless the first time you played it.
Mm.
So it's a great feeling.
I didn't get around to doing that with Dead Space, but I should do that. And Dead Space is actually on my list to go back to because I didn't finish playing through the remake, but I love Dead Space. Absolutely. One of my favorite horror games.
I'm I'm mad with EA. I'm so angry. They've
Everyone's mad
killed
with EA.
Yeah, but they've killed Dead Space this for the second time. It sucks because obviously, like after Dead Space 3, it didn't sell as well. But that was because of decisions from EA to make it
Oh,
more
yeah. We had online
actiony and more.
passes. We had make it
Yeah,
co-op, add all
and
these DLC, and
it was there was the crafting side as well, and you could pay money for the crafting resources, which was stupid. And anyways, like they killed it after that, which was disappointing, but it kind of made sense. But then there's the remake, which is oh, I think it's how you remember like that nostalgia moment. You look back at Dead Space and you're like, man, this is it was visually great. And then you play the remake and you're like, this is what it looked like. Like
yeah.
what have they done? And then you see it side by side and it's completely different. And you're like, wow.
Yeah, that's a good
But
remake
the
right there.
yeah, great remake. And unfortunately it just didn't sell enough again. And EA have just canned it or sidelined it. I think they said
Mm.
they've put it on the back burner and sidelined it, but I don't think the team's going to be working on it because it just doesn't bring in money.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise
But
me.
we'll get the Dead Space remake in a couple of years' time. I'm sure they'll be
Yeah,
like,
that'll
oh,
be like
let's go back to the Dead Space franchise again.
the only downloadable like $20 version of like, here's the Dead Space remake HD version,
Yeah,
just because it's a quick money grab that
yeah,
doesn't cost them anything.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
EA, just everything that EA does wrong.
yeah,
The
yeah,
fact that they tanked Visceral Studios at all when that studio was, oh my god, they were doing so many great things,
they were,
and then they
and they
became a
were.
support studio for Battlefield, and then they died.
Was it Visceral working on a? They were working on a Star Wars game or a Titanfall game.
I
Working on
believe
something.
I believe it was a Star Wars. I think they were working on a Star Wars game.
Yeah. And then they canned, yeah. And obviously they just removed Visceral Studios. So
Yeah. And then we got the Callisto Protocol,
sucks.
which I don't
Yeah.
hate. Most people hate it, but I don't. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I look. I'm not going to comment because I played it and I was not happy. But I think I went in thinking that it was going to be a similar to Dead Space, but bigger on the scares.
Mm.
And I was going through and just kind of like predicting all of the scares as I went through. And I'm like, and I think it's because Dead Space did something similar in terms of those scares
Yeah,
at those kind of pacing points.
they threaded the needle a little too closely with
Yeah.
Callisto Protocol for sure.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. It's definitely
Um,
pretty predictable for the most part.
yeah. Yeah. And and just to talk about that team, but Glenn Schofield,
Yep.
who was the creator of Dead Space, worked on that. He left, and not sure, but I did read somewhere that the original Dead Space team pitched for a Dead Space 4 like in the past month or
Mm,
past 2 months, and EA shot it down.
wouldn't surprise me.
And I'm like,
This is like
what?
we're never gonna get a Titanfall 3 either because
Oh no.
we can never get the games
Well,
we want.
because Apex.
Yeah,
And
because of Apex.
I actually think that team's also working on another Star Wars game as well. I don't know.
There's technically another Jedi game in development by the
Yeah,
Titanfall team.
that was Respawn, wasn't
Yep.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Respawn.
So there's the third one. Yeah, I thought they were working on another single player game. I might be wrong. I'm probably wrong.
Possibly. Who knows? The Star Wars license is all out there now for everyone to do things with. So
Yeah, because EA did nothing with it.
they really didn't. They really didn't. Wasted.
Uh, but in typical EA fashion, just waste all the franchises that they've got.
Hmm. If you had to pick a favorite horror game of all time, what would it be? If you can pick one.
That is tricky. Uh, Look, I'd honestly have to say Dead Space.
Like OG or the remake?
Oh,
Or is it kind of like one and the same at this point?
one and the same, but I think definitely OG. I played that like 3 or 4 times through. Whereas the remake I haven't. I've only played through once. And then probably like a close second would be Outlast. I'm a sucker for. I'm a sucker for Outlast. I do enjoy it.
I only played through Outlast for the first time last year, but that's also because it's one of those games that I don't care for because I don't like those kind of passive horror or what I call hidey horror. They just don't do it for me. And I
Yeah.
thought that was super predictable. I streamed that whole thing and like I had a friend watch me because he's a massive Outlast fan and he was like there cheering me on, like, yeah. And then as I was playing through it, like every time something happened that's supposed to be like this big shocking moment, I'm just like, ooh, scary.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I had that part with the doctor dude. And I don't know if it was glitched or just bad programming or what, but it took me forever to get through that segment. It wasn't scary. All the tension died on me, and I'm just like, this is the worst. I hate this. I just want it to be over.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. And I get it. I get it. It's not for everyone, especially
I like the ending. I will say this. I like the ending.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thought the ending was surprising.
The franchise that they're trying to build there is really, really cool. So I've been playing a lot of like Outlast Trials, which is the co-op Outlast. Weirdly enough, it works. And they're doing really really cool stuff with that. If you enjoyed Outlast or even Outlast 2, I think you'd enjoy this one. But I think there's also other aspects. If at any moment you did enjoy yourself in Outlast, you might enjoy Trials just because there's different things like you can throw bottles,
How does the
bricks.
dynamic of Trials work? Like, what kind of game is it? Because I've never played it myself.
It's still
Is it like Dead by
there's
Daylight?
it's kind of like a mixture. So there's definitely those like mini game moments. So instead of like restarting a generator, you might um actually no, there's also a restart generator in Trials. So there's it's just like a different way. So instead of like a UI um wheel that comes up and you have to get it at the right time, in Trials it'll be physical buttons that you have to press on the generator. Then you've got to go and get the gas, take it over, fill it up. Um, there's still very much the hidey horror that you experienced in Outlast. So someone's chasing you and you have to hide. Um, but there's also different aspects, different mechanics like sound. So you could pick up a bottle, throw it. You can throw it at an enemy, it'll stagger them, or you can kind of what's the word?
Like, distract them?
Distract. Distract is the word.
Is it
Went
an
out my mind.
asymmetrical horror? Do other players play as the enemies, the monsters?
No, no. So
Okay.
it's pure co-op PvE. I say PvE, but you're really not versing them.
But that's what I'm more
There's
inclined to. I don't care for the asymmetrical horror where a player is controlling
yep.
the monster.
Yeah, no, it's basically you having to do with 1 to 3 of your buddies go in. You can also do it solo. It's definitely a little bit harder, but you can go in, do some tasks, or do these tasks. They're very gruesome in a way. So, like, you might have to, purge the innocence, and basically, someone's just like tied up on this chair, and you have to go back and forth and like saw their legs off to get out of this trial. So it's very gory and gruesome, and it definitely plays on that. Um,
I'll have to check it out
but
because see,
yeah,
I'm curious now because like finding good co-op horror is tricky because the minute you add co-op or like any kind of multiplayer aspect to a horror game, it diminishes the horror
yep,
because no matter what, there's going to be a kind of like a barrier added because you're experiencing it with someone else or you're talking to someone else or there's a filter that's happening. So the idea of something that does a better job of keeping the horror alive to me is appealing, and I always look for those. I always want that experience of like even Dead Space 3 had its moments and it had its fun playing it because it's still very Dead Spacey. If you strip away all the garbage, all the crap that EA added to it, it was still a
yep,
fun game for the most part, and it's fun to co-op.
yep.
And I personally enjoyed Resident Evil 5 a lot. I enjoyed playing that game co-op with a friend. It's even more fun to play with people who are easily scared. Shout out to my partner Brandy, because then I made her play that game, and we got to the swamp area, and the first thing she says is, "Are there crocodiles?" And I went, "No, there's no crocodiles." And she's like, and then of course a crocodile jumps out of the water and tries
Of
to eat her
course.
face, and she freaks out and gets mad at me, which to me is hilarious. So that's fun for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, no, Trials does a great job. There's definitely moments where you're together, but then there's moments where the game forces you to split up as well.
Mhm.
Um, there's also very similar to Dead Space 3, but like uh, a hallucinogen hallucinogen kind of feel. So like you can get into hit, you can get hit by gas, and then you can be like in full psychosis, and
Mm.
you'll start seeing this person that just like pops up and just like runs at you, or like jump scares you at moments, but your mate's fine
Yeah.
because they weren't gassed. So you'll have to be running in this other direction away from this hallucinated man, and you might get cornered, and then your other your mate's just over there doing stuff. So like it's definitely has its moments. And I really like it in terms of like horror. In terms of like first person recent horror. But obviously it's not for everyone. And I think this was a topic um, that came up in the Fearzine Discord. Um, how horror is very subjective. So like, and we kind of briefly touched on it there, where like I like Outlast and the franchise, and it's not like scary to me, but it's horror for me.
Mm-hmm.
But then you were like, it's not scary for you, and it's yeah. So like, um, yeah, a lot like Trials is very subjective in terms of if you'll like it or not. So I reckon if you do get it, definitely play it for under the 2 hours on Steam, and then if you don't like it, give it the old refund.
Yeah. Just to touch on like the horror being subjective element, for me, it's also gameplay is important for me in a lot of
Yep.
ways, and I very much appreciate and enjoy combat and puzzles. If I don't have combat, I need a lot of puzzles. If I don't have puzzles, I need good combat. If I don't have
Yeah.
either of those, it's a struggle for me. Just personally, this is how I am. So with those kinds of games, uh, it's hard for me, especially the hard hidey horror games like Amnesia and the first couple of the first two. I didn't play Outlast 2, but Outlast 1 being strictly like no combat, just mostly hiding, mostly running away from things. The hiding from enemies doesn't give me anxiety. It doesn't build tension for me. It's just a waiting game and it gets boring for me. But I get how that works for other people. Everyone's different. That's why horror is subjective. On the flip side, some people are really sensitive and they can get jump scared by things that aren't meant to be scary or meant to jump scare you. So those
Yep.
people are going to get hit by those things a lot easier. It's one of the reasons why I love Dead Space, because the soundscape in Dead Space is freaking phenomenal. It's one of the best there are out
Really
there
is.
in the horror genre. Like the things they
Yep.
did in Dead Space to mess with you as a player are fantastic. Much like Eternal Darkness kind of had the sanity system. And it wasn't necessarily terrifying, but it just made you question everything. And like, what is happening?
Yep.
And that's my biggest struggle with those games. I'm like, I just get bored when I have to hide. And if I'm gonna have to hide, give me a really good reason to do so. And like games that do that well for me are games like Evil Within. Evil Within has a
Yep.
balancing act. Alien Isolation. I constantly forget about Alien Isolation, but I want to praise the hell out of Alien Isolation because it's such a great game that balances the actual combat and actual dynamics of
Yep.
fighting things. But the alien is the thing you have to hide from. The alien is the thing that like games like Amnesia. So
Yeah.
Alien has a little bit of everything kind of
Yep.
kind of built into it.
Alien's right. I can't actually wait for the. Sorry to derail, but I can't wait for the sequel. Actually,
Oh,
it's
yeah. Just give me more of the same. More of the
yeah.
same, bigger, better. The game aged incredibly well. Like, I started playing it a few
Uh
months ago, and I'm like, "This game's 10 years old,
yeah.
and it looks
looks
incredible."
looks
So
great,
good.
and I think for that, and I know, and again, sorry to derail, but this goes back to the 40-hour game. I don't mind Alien Isolation being as long as it is because I loved it.
On that note, I'll say too, because the difference there too is also the pacing. Alien Isolation's pacing is meant to be like that. It's not
Yep.
necessarily a long game, it's just it's paced out in a bit of
Yep.
a long fashion. Honestly, like, when I played the game originally, I didn't realize it was long. It wasn't until later that people started talking about, "Man, that game is so long." I'm like, "Was it?" And I'm like I had to look back and realize, like, "Oh, yeah, it took a while to get through." Like, "Alright, yeah, I didn't realize because I was just so in it." It had
I
me.
think my first playthrough was uh 12, 15 hours, like long. Um, I'm not sure if that's longer than the average, but
I'd have to look.
I
I don't know off the
like
top of my head.
I took my time. I loved it, but it was just one of those ones that was just long.
I guess
Um,
it depends on what you set the standard at because a lot of people have different standards for, like, your average survival horror game, if you're looking at, like, the staples of, like, the original Resident Evils and or Silent Hill, on average, one of those games takes, like, 6 to 10 hours depending on your play style, and then if you're like me and you've played the game a million times, you can fly through it in a couple of hours, and then, like, even the Resident Evil remake, I tried to hit there's achievements for beating that game in under 4 hours, I think, and if you know exactly what to do, it's easy. But then I don't think every horror game needs to be short necessarily, but they can't be too long because it becomes hard to keep it balanced. And,
Yeah.
like, even now, I'm playing the Silent Hill 2 remake, and I'm pushing, like, 15 hours on that game, and I'm not
Oh, yeah.
in the final
Yep.
area, and I'm like, "Okay, there's a minimum of another 5 hours of this game," and I've heard people complain it's too long, but so far, I'm kinda fine with it. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like it's overstaying its welcome yet. Hopefully, it doesn't get there because 'cause I've been enjoying
And
what
I
I'm playing so far.
and I think that's subjective as well, right? Like, there's definitely some criticism out there that Alien Isolation is too long.
Mhm,
But I think as people that enjoy that genre and the franchise as well, and the story, the aliens, like, I don't care if it's 15 hours or 30 hours. Um, so there's, and I, yeah, that'll go back to obviously the PlayStation titles. Some people probably won't care that it's 40 hours, but I think just as like a general, the general audience, those longer games definitely take a hit, and um, yeah, for the general audience, 40 hours or like 15 hours is a long time for a game.
mhm,
Um, but I also wanted to say a second point. I think back when original Resident Evil um, 4 and Silent Hill 2, when they came out, like that 6 to 10 hour mark, I think was generally like the 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 length of just a single player game as well.
mm,
So, like my favorite game of all time, Half Life 2, was 7 to 8 hours long. Obviously, you can finish it quicker if you're speed running or just know what you're doing. But that first playtime will be 7 to 8. Um, and I think like a lot of those non-open world games are like those linear games are like 7 to 8 hours, or 6 to 10. Sorry. But now with how publishers are with their games and how big they are, they want they want players to be in their game for longer than the next game.
mhm.
So like Assassin's Creed 1 and 2, you could smash everything out in I think like 20 to 30 hours, I think, like 100% those, I believe. Um, good luck with Valhalla, like 100%ing that in 30 hours. Like
Yeah.
it's
I have a
6 times the game.
I have a friend who complained about how it took him, like, 130 hours to 100% Odyssey.
Insanity, insanity. But everyone wants their game to be the next Fortnite in a way.
Yeah,
Like
they
Call of
want
Duty right now, like the longer you're in the game, the more time, more chance that you'll spend some money to get the next skin.
yeah,
It's that mobile thinking,
they want you
mobile game
invested
thinking.
in the
Like,
game.
yeah, rather than making a great game to be invested in, it's
Yeah.
just make a game and then make some cool additional investments that people, yeah,
On the flip side, I wanna mention, and I'll do a shout out. I wanna shout out Fear the Spotlight that came out recently on, like, its full re-release that it got after Bloomhouse took over, and they added a new scenario to the game. If
yep,
you want a super short and sweet, but incredibly well-crafted horror game, Fear the Spotlight is incredible. I can't, understate it, I can't overstate it, whatever way to look at it. It's a incredibly well-tuned experience. There's 2 chapters in the game now, they added a second chapter in the full release of it. The main playthrough is, like, 4 to maybe 6 hours, give or take, depending on how quickly you solve the puzzles. And then there's a second playthrough that's exactly the same length, essentially, that kind of like the flip side of the story. So it's very classic in that sense, like the old survival horrors. But it's just,
Yeah.
it's incredibly well crafted and fine tuned that, I mean, if I went back and played it again, I could probably breeze through it in like half the time, maybe 2 to 3 hours. But it's such a fun, enjoyable experience that I cannot complain, and, unlike my other qualms, there's very little, if at all, there's no real combat in the game, but the puzzles are great, and that's what I
Mhm.
said, if I don't have combat, give me good puzzles. The puzzles
Yeah.
in, Fear the Spotlight are perfect. They feel really clever. They make me feel clever for solving them, and they have a fun, like, hapticness to them, the way you interact
Yeah.
with things, the way you engage with the items and the experience. It's not just click X, click this, or turn the valve or whatever. There's a uniqueness to the way that they make you interact with things in the game that I really appreciated, and,
Okay.
it's fun. I highly recommend that game to anyone that if you want more of, it's almost a chill horror game because there's no combat. There are scenarios where you do have to hide from, like, a big bad, and, then you have to do, like, the certain, like, I guess they would qualify as boss fights, but again,
Okay.
there's no weapons per se, there's no guns or anything, but, it's a truly fun game, and it's got a really heartwarming story, so
Oh, cool. Sounds cool. Sounds cool. I'll have to check that one out.
yeah, I highly recommend that game.
Not related to horror. I've been sinking a lot of hours in Balatro
Oh,
over the
yeah?
past like 3 weeks.
I know
Like too
nothing
many
about this game
hours.
other than people talking about it.
Yeah, no, it's at first I wasn't into it. I played a couple rounds, I was like, this isn't that good.
It sounds like me
Or
and
like this
Vampire
isn't
Survivors did the exact
yeah.
same thing with that game.
And then I gave it another go one night and now it's kind of all I think about and it's disgusting.
Mhm. Don't tempt me.
It no, don't. It's yeah. He's done such a good job. Like that was made by one person. It
Mhm.
was yeah, it's very addicting. Very addicting.
I said all I can think about now is I did the exact same thing with Vampire Survivors. I remember playing that game, but like, this is kinda dumb, I don't get it. And I played a couple
Yeah.
of rounds and I'm like, I still don't get it. And then on like the 5th round, it was like, oh, I get it. And then I just couldn't stop playing.
Yeah. It's these roguelikes have, man. It's they need to stop making such addicting games.
Mhm. But again, it's all about that player investment. They get you hooked.
Yeah.
They get
Yeah.
you hooked in there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of, like you mentioned playing Balatro, and I'm currently playing Silent Hill 2 Remake. I'm hoping to be finished with that pretty soon so I can get back to some of my other backlog. So many horror games, especially for all of you lovely horror developers out there that we have to cover and like games that we're working on doing coverage for. And I know we can sit here and talk about games for hours. You already said if we're going to talk about horror
We
games, we
can.
could be here for like
We
3 hours.
can.
I could be here for 3 hours already. We did it the last time. But
Yeah, we did.
I'm gonna go ahead and close this out, but before I do, I wanted
Yep.
to give you a moment to share or talk about anything you wanna make sure to throw out some promotions or tell people where to find you or your game, and I'll include those links in the show notes.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks so much again for having me today. But yeah, if anyone out there listening would like to check out the night shift, it is an early access, um, but I'm trying to make it the best it possibly can be, and I can only do that as well with the feedback. So if you do check it out, it's on Steam. It's $7 US, unless it's on sale. Uh, but yeah, check it out. And then if you do, please let me know your thoughts as well, especially if you do play a lot of horror, because I do want to make it a pretty scary experience. So yeah, and that's really the only place we're on at the moment, Steam. So makes it short and sweet.
Perfect. Feedback is key. Like, I'm the exact same way. I love feedback. Constructive feedback is the best. So if you're out there and you're listening and you wanna help Marty with his game, go give it a purchase and a buy and check it out, and make sure to leave all that wonderful feedback to help and make it better. Just like this podcast, be sure to leave some feedback on this podcast. Let us know what you think. Let us know what else you'd like to see slash hear. What else we could do. It's because same thing. I want to make it better, just like Marty wants to make his games better, and I want to make this podcast better, as well as help each other. That's what we're all about. We like the collaboration, and we want to do everything we can. And that's part of this. The reason for doing this podcast, building horror, is helping others collaborate, helping each other get to know each other, help each other where we can. And I'm gonna stop saying help each other because I get a little swept up in it. But yeah, just thank you for checking out this podcast. Thank you, Marty, for joining me. Be sure
Thank you.
to give Marty a follow. Check out his game. Check out Fearzine. Check out our website, and stay tuned for updates on upcoming issues, as well as we're working on trying to make the magazine available as much as possible because we're really small. We have very little budget, and we're trying our best to get it out there. And the best thing that for us to do that is word of mouth and exposure and getting the name out there. Issue 2 is done. Issue 2 is on its way for those who have backed the magazine, and I will be shipping those out soon. The digital version of the magazine will be made available for purchase on our website after all of the backer Kickstarters have been fulfilled. So if you are looking to get the magazine and help us out, you can look forward to that. Yeah. So that's the final plug for me. And let us know what you think. Thank you all for hanging out with us. Welcome to the horrifically wholesome community of Fearzine. And thank you again, Marty, for sharing with me. Look forward to having you back another time.
Definitely. Thank you, and thank you everyone for listening.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. 2.5 hours? So you're still here. Thank you.
Well, we're a little over an hour and a half at this point.
Hour and a half. Man, my perception of time is way
It's all
off.
good.
That's right.
I like a good long podcast, so hopefully others are out there like, yeah, keep going, don't stop. Maybe.
I'm just going to give the people what they want. We just don't stop.
Right.
5-hour podcasts.
Let us know. Do you want the all-day podcast to get you through your workday? I mean, that's what streams are kind of good for nowadays too. But I like a good long podcast. I used to use that all the time, working like boring desk jobs.
Just thinking, you could do Fearzine Radio, 24/7 Fearzine podcast.
I do talk a lot, so never stop talking. But yeah, with that, let's close her out and say, have a good one. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you, Marty. Thank you, everyone. See you later. I don't have a good closeout, so that's it. Bye.
Fearzine.